All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Cindy with Candles and Supplies, and Christine is in the background standing by for monitoring the chat and the comments and stuff like that so that she can help us out. Thank you all for joining us. Let me know if you can hear me, if everybody's on, if you can hear me and stuff like that. We have kind of a busy day today. This is a presentation that's packed. I think it's going to be very useful for everybody. We're also going to put after this, we're going to put the presentation into the comments on this on all of our platforms and stuff. Oh, I see Christine's on. She's on as Candles and Supplies, she said here. So, hi, Christine. um, so, of course, we're going to post it in the chat, and we're also going to put a link to the spreadsheet on there too. The spreadsheet is for everyone to use. Like, you can use it, you can edit it, you can do it as you want. I'm going to show you like how it's used and the different tools. And I think it makes pricing a whole lot easier. Um, in my search gently through social media, I'm not a social media aficionado or anything like that, or expert, or I'm not on it a lot. But when I do see it and I go in the candle groups and stuff, it keeps coming up again and again. How do I price my products? What do I do? This, that, whatever. And the reason that happens, when you first start making candles and stuff like that, you start creating, you give some of your products away as testers and stuff like that. People like them, and then they're like, hey, I want to buy it. How much should buy it for? And then it's like you're a deer in headlights. You're like, oh my God, I don't know what to sell my product. I have no idea. And then your mind starts working, and things like, I didn't think about it. Do I have enough to sell? Like, how much does it cost me? I don't know. Are my products good enough to sell? All these things, your brain starts thinking about all these things instead of like how to price your products. So I created this real simple, easy to go through spreadsheet that I'll share with everybody too. That way you guys can use it, you can edit it, that type of thing, whatever you want. You can call us if you have questions or anything. So that way, hopefully this will make it easier. Hopefully, it's much easier for you and funner and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not too technically advanced. I am sharing my screen. This is a big deal for me. So if I stumble a little bit through the presentation and stuff like that, bear with me. Don't shoot me or anything like that. So I can try to do this the best I can. Main goal of this is I want you guys to feel comfortable about pricing. We're going to learn to work forwards, backwards. We're going to learn the golden rules of pricing and stuff like that. So let's get to it. Let me see if I can change my screen here. Oh, nope, I cannot. So, there we go. So today's agenda, we're going to go over the golden rules of pricing, how to calculate your costs. Super, 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 super important. You can't price your products unless you know your costs. Thank you, Dara. She says I'm doing great. Awesome. So calculating your costs is expensive. If anybody watches Shark Tank, they're always like, always know your costs. Always know your costs. Super, super important. You can't sell anything if you don't know your costs. Even roundabouts is good in your mind, but always keep track of your costs and stuff. And then we're going to do a simple cost plus pricing, also known as markup pricing. Very simple pricing model. Super, super easy. The spreadsheet kind of calculates it for you, gives suggestions. And then we're going to learn to work backwards. I call it backwards pricing and profit calculation. So this is where I think we'll be spending a lot of time on that and calculating costs and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them. I want to make this simple and everything like that. Any comments and stuff, post it in there. Also give us a shout out. Let us know where you're from and everything too. That way everybody here kind of knows too. Product pricing is something that perplexes everyone, and you're going to have different products and different prices at different price models and stuff. So it's like that. Some of the golden rules. Number one rule, charge as much as you possibly can without losing money. So you don't want to lose money on anything, but sometimes you'll find products like cost you next to nothing, and you can get, like whatever, $10 for them or whatever. And you're like, well, that cost me next to nothing. Should I really charge $10? Well, yeah, because the next product you have, you may want to sell, or it's, an accessory to a product that you already sell, and there's not going to be as much money in it. So it kind of makes up for it. So some products will be more profitable. Some products will be less profitable. That's how it goes. You just want to make sure that on the less profitable ones, you don't want them to be like your highest labor ones. So like think about things like bath bombs, tea lights, that type of thing, things that take a whole lot of time to produce, but don't produce a whole lot. You want to make it worth it for profits and stuff like that. So if you're just buying and selling something in cases, that type of thing, maybe you can make a little less on it because you don't have as much work into it or as much time. So some products will be more profitable, some products will be less profitable. That's just how it is. And then some products take more time to make. They should be more profitable because it takes more time to make them. And then Warren Buffett never lose money unless it's a clearance item and you're getting rid of it. Don't lose money on things. Then that's when frustration sets in and you're not going to want to do it anymore and that type of thing. So you don't want to lose momentum or anything. So don't lose money on it. Okay. When standard pricing models don't work, so there's a lot of instances where, this spreadsheet will be like, I don't know if this works or not. I did a lot of different pricing models in here just to give a roundabout and stuff, but you can't always just put stuff into a spreadsheet and have it work. It's always good to put your costs into a spreadsheet and know your costs, but sometimes it's just a weird number. So on products that have very low direct cost for materials, votives, tea lights, tapers, carved candles, the costs are not so much, they're low, but it takes a lot of time to produce. So, you can't do, okay, cost plus 2. Well, all right, if it costs you 30 cents, you're not going to sell it for 60 cents when it took you like an hour to make 5 of them. So, you want to sell it for more than that. And then products that have very high direct costs for materials, like super large candles, specialty vessels, that type of thing, that, you may not be able to go with like cost times 5 or 10 like you would a bath bomb because it's a higher item, it's a higher price item. So therefore the profit dollars will be there, but not the profit percentages and stuff. So that's a whole other thing. But you'll kind of see that when we work through the spreadsheet and stuff too. So it's important to learn I call it backwards and forwards on pricing. First, you have to know your costs. But backwards is like a desired selling price. When you put something in your hand and you're like, okay, this lotion, I want to be able to sell this for $20. All right. And then you calculate your costs and find out what's in it. You work backwards, how much time it is to do that. And then if it kind of works for you. There's a lot of things that you may want to make and sell, but it's just not worth it. Like by the time whatever the price is, especially if it's a market item, whatever the price you put on it, by the time you go to sell it, after you calculate your costs, you're like, well, I'll be making 50 cents on that. So, and it may not be worth it for you. So, you have to move on and find something else or find a different way to market that product to where you can get a higher price or something. So sometimes it doesn't work that way, but it's good to learn to work backwards and forwards. Sometimes it's easier to work backwards than forwards, but we'll teach you both. If you plug it all in the spreadsheet does work backwards and forwards for you. So you can see all that and it kind of makes it very easy. And then you can print it too. So you can do one of these spreadsheets for each of your products. You can copy and paste it within your spreadsheet, like for all your products. Say you sell 10 different things. You can use the same pricing template for all 10 of your things, just make a different page for each. That way if costs change and stuff, you'll be able to easily calculate the different costs. So we'll do all that. Calculating your costs, we'll do that now. So get into that. Always know your costs. Always know your costs. So you want to know your direct costs. So direct costs are the costs for the products used in production. So whatever the customer walks away with. So, if they're walking away with this lotion, direct costs would be, the bottle and the cap and the lotion inside and the little label on the front and anything else. If we put a shrink band on this or whatever the customer picks up and leaves with, that's your direct cost that you want to calculate. Indirect costs for this would be, the building rent that you're in, electric, heat, equipment. Like if you have a lotion filler or something like that, you can't calculate that in there. So that's a little harder and stuff like that. The profit is what kind of pays for that. So selling price or your profit equals your selling price less your direct costs, and that's what you want to go by. So for instance, if I bought a lotion pourer for $150 to do this one bottle, well, this just now cost me like $160. Well, you're not going to sell this for $200. It's a $15 bottle of lotion. So you can't get that amount for it. So that's why you can't count. Or I made one thing all month and my rent was $1,000. Well, you can't, put the $1,000 in here. You have to make enough products to make your rent and your other indirect costs. So that's why we don't calculate those in there. with the profits. So, all right, moving right along. So, pricing your products. It's basically this is a spreadsheet we're going to kind of go by and stuff. I will do my best to switch over screens. We'll get them switched, but don't know how, but we will get them switched over to the pricing template, and then we'll go through some examples too on that. But this is kind of what it looks like. So we're calculating our product cost for raw materials, the label, the packaging, and then we'll put some markups on there and everything too. So now's when we get to the screen sharing. There's me. No, let's see what else. Entire screen. There we go. I think I got it. Not sure. I think, there we go. Now I know this is going to be small and everything for everybody. So like I said, we're going to attach this to the post on Instagram. We'll put it on Facebook and we'll put it on YouTube. That way, if you read in the comments and stuff like that, or read in the description, it will have a link to this exact spreadsheet that you can, I mean, it's going to be the full spreadsheet too. So you guys can edit it and stuff as you go along and, make it your own. So I find my mouse up here. So at the top of the spreadsheet, it's labeled how to price your products. Oh, good. My little pointer's showing there too. And this is the date that we're doing this and who's doing it too. So if you ever have any questions, you can call us, that type of thing. And then the way I do my spreadsheets, for me, this is just the way I do things. Any fields in red on this whole spreadsheet are ones that you're going to fill in. And then the calculator, all the black fields are the calculated fields. So anything where you see red is going to be some information that you need to fill in on the spreadsheets. So that's how I know, because spreadsheets get to be long and complicated and this and that. So I always know anything that I need to fill in. If I make that a red field, I know that I have to put some information in there. Like my calculations aren't going to work correctly unless I have that information in there. So anything in red, you need to fill in. So up top, we have, this is the cost calculation. So I have a little thing here for the product name. So if you're going to just copy this so I have the first tab here is the template. So you can just duplicate that and create another one from here. That way you're never overwriting your template or anything like that. So first part of this spreadsheet, and I put this all on one sheet too. So that way, if you're doing this, you can see all of the things that we're going to talk about today on one sheet. But we'll take them one at a time. So the first part of this spreadsheet, you type in your product name, and then it has all the components, the cost of the components, the yield quantity. We're going to go over this very slow. This is just a very high level overview of what this cost calculation is, the units in the thing. And we'll have examples too, amount you used in it, and then it'll calculate your cost for each. And then below, it'll do the cost plus. So it'll take your cost and then apply some markups. So your cost times 2, your cost times 2.5, your cost times 3, times 5, times 10. And these would just be suggested selling ones. It's not, it's not written in stone. It's not like what you should, but it's just some suggestions on where you're at. And then we will do the backwards pricing, and that's below. So if you know something, like if you say, we'll do the candle, because if you have this candle and I'm gonna put it in front of me because my virtual background won't show. So if you have this candle, you'd be like, I want to sell this for $35. You'll be able to plug that in there, and it'll take all your costs into consideration and stuff, and it'll tell you like how much you're making and everything and that type of thing. I'll show you that when we do the candle example. So moving right along. So that's the basic empty template that you guys can have. And then when we do post it, I'm gonna leave the examples on there too. That way, if you ever want to go back and watch the video, and the video will, correspond with the examples in here too. You can delete them if you want. You can use them for your own. I don't really care what you want to do with it. It's yours. Once you download that spreadsheet, it's yours. Save it there. You'll be able to edit it any way you want. So moving right along, we'll go to this candle example. And for the product name, I will call this shower candle, because this was our shower candle that we made. And then, so this is what it looks like. It's in a thing. We're going to take into consideration, this is everything everybody leaves with. So it's the cello bag, the card, the bow, the everything included in here. So first thing we have is, my notes here, is our purple electroplate jar. right. And so this one, they are $24.99, and there's 12 to a box. So I paid $24.99 for 12 of those. And then I just type in for, this will be each. Okay. I just type in the units type. So I know that it cost me $24.99. And you can also do this to keep track of your cost too. When you buy things, you can just type it in here. And that way, when you do a candle or whatever, you can just copy paste. You have all your costs in here. You can kind of use it as like a cost spreadsheet too. And you can like insert rows and stuff if you want to. If there's any to be inserted, you can insert rows or delete rows as needed. Okay, so these purple electric plate jars are $24.99. There's 12 to a box in each. I'm going to use one in the candle. So it automatically calculates over here. It takes the $24.99 divided by 12 equals 208 per jar. All right. And we don't want to mess up our black fields, otherwise it'll mess up and you can always re-download if you mess up the calculations or whatever, you can undo it or re-download it or whatever. And then I used our production single pour wax because it's one of my favorites, and that is $111.99. And there's 45 pounds per case. And then that unit is pound. So if you're calculating, if I was going to be calculating out something really, really like, the little flowers that I used in here, it has a little flower on the top. When we calculate that out, it'll be a little bit different on there. So 45 pounds. I know this candle I used 8 ounces of wax in this candle. So 8 ounces is only half a pound. So I'm going to put in 0.5. And there, boom, it calculates that out. So it takes the, $111.99 for a 45-pound case. A half a pound cost me $1.24. So as I'm adding in my cost here, it's also coming up with a total for this candle. All right, so we'll move right along. My fragrance oil, I used the Fresh Cut Roses fragrance oil, and I paid $26.99. It was 16 ounces, right? And I used half an ounce of scent because it's 1 ounce per pound. I know this candle took 8 ounces of wax, so I used a half an ounce of scent. So my scent cost came out to be 84 cents on that. My little flower that I used, so the little flower on top, if you can see it, it's just, I made it with like a silicone mold and stuff like that. So I'm not going to calculate that out right now because that will take a little bit different things. So we'll go on to the wick. So I used the CD8 wick, and those are $10.99 for 100. And that'll also be in each thing. So I'll put in each. And we use 1. So 11 cents for the wick. My burn label, let's just say I bought $4.99 for 100. That's in each also. Take out this foot here, so it's a different thing. And I used 1. So my burn label was 5 cents. The little plastic cover was 49 cents. They're 49 cents each. Buy them singly. I used 1. So it calculates it out as 49 cents. My ribbon was $10. And that was for 144 feet. And I used 1 foot in there, so it calculates it out. So it was 7 cents per foot, right? Yeah, 144 divided by 10 doesn't seem right. Yeah. I'll double check that. So you can always back this up with your calculator here. 10. Oops. 9 by 134. Yeah, okay, 7 cents. All right, seems too cheap, but that's what it was. So my cello bags, they are $2.99 for 100. That's in each also. Oops, I'm great at typing. I used 1. And then there was a label. I put a label on the jar. So right on the jar, right in the front, I have a 2-inch label. And that was let's say that was 82, nope. A 2-inch label, I believe there's 8 to a sheet. So it was, let's say $2. I didn't look up the exact cost. Sorry. It's $2 for a sheet of 8, and that would be each. And we're only using one on there. So, 25 cents would be the $2 divided by 8. And then the little note card on there also has a little tag on there. Thank you for coming, all that type of warm and fuzzy things. That was $22. Now it was $22 for a box of 500 with 8 to a sheet. So actually, there is 500 times 8 in there, right? So there's 4,000 of those little cards per sheet. I'll type in each there, and I used one. Okay, so my total cost for this candle would be $5.17 without the flour. So we'll do the flour. That was pillar wax, and we'll say, what I'm just gonna type in, just for easy calculations, the same thing as the wax above. Let's just say I use the same wax. We'll type that in there. But on this one, I know it weighs like 1 ounce, right? So it gets a little complicated. So this is calculated out in the spreadsheet per pound. But if I want to calculate it out by ounce, I would take 1 divided by 16, because there's 16 ounces to a pound. And then I used like 0.06 on the wax. So 15 cents for that, for the flour. All right, none of these costs, right? These are direct costs, so none of these costs involve my time or anything like that. So now my total cost for this candle is $5.32. So if I just wanted to like double my money, down here, the calculator calculates cost times 2. You're doubling your money at $10.65. Well, that's pretty cheap for that candle, so I wouldn't sell it at that. 2.5 would be $13.31. And you always want to round up your selling prices too. So $10.65 would be a weird price. Like you would never see that on there. So if you're going for a wholesale account or something like that, or, your cost times 2, $10.65, you could quote it out at that. But usually it would be like $10.99. So you'll round up. $13.31 would be $13.49. Those few extra pennies just make sense retail wise. People can calculate it in their head. They can calculate in 50 cents. They can calculate in dollars. Minus a penny, doesn't matter. They're going to pay tax. So that penny goes towards taxes. But they can calculate that out easier than they can calculate out $13.31. If you put that on a candle, it's a weird number, and people be like, $13.31, what's that? So this can also help you calculate out. So if you decide to sell for like $13.49 or $13.99, maybe you could do 2 for $26. So that way, you're still in the realm and stuff. It'll help you calculate out that way if you want to do any kind of specials or 2 first. And then you can just add extra columns here too. So like sell 2 candles or something like that. And that way you'll can calculate that out to make sure you're still within pricing. Okay. So that's the cost plus. We entered all our costs in there. Cost plus will give you these suggested prices. You can sell for whatever you want to. If you want to do your cost times 10, 53.24. I've seen candles like this that they're selling for $75. So if you're selling at $53, you're 10 timesing your money. If there are any stocks out there now or anything where people could guarantee to 10 times their money, they would do it, right? So depends on your market and what you're going for and stuff. All right. So now if we use the backwards pricing or the profit calculator, it's still taking our numbers from above and everything, right? It took the product cost of $5.32 in there. Say we want to sell this candle for $75. Super luxury, super nice candle. I want to get $75 for this. Like the above pricing model, the markup doesn't work for me because I know this candle's worth $75, right? Okay. So our target sell price, we put in as $75. It works backwards. So it knows the product cost is $5.32 because it has all of our components that we just typed in up there. So the total profit per each is $69.68. That's wonderful. So this is kind of a fantasy world that we all don't maybe live in, but maybe you do. So maybe there's some people out there that are selling a super luxury line. Good for you. Love it. That's awesome. So we'll just use this for an example, and then we'll work out different pricing models. All right. So now we want to get into, it tells you your total profit per each and stuff. So now we want to figure on production time in minutes and stuff. So say, all right, 75 seems a lot for that candle. And if you're making it home, you're like, wow, I can make $69 a candle. All right, well, let's say you have like, a crew of people. Now you have payroll that goes into it. The payroll is actually part of your direct cost too and stuff like that. But first you have to figure out like how much time it takes you to make it and stuff and how many you can make. So I know, let's say, to make the one candle, and you have to, when you're calculating your production time, it should be for, like setup, production time, quality control, like if your tops aren't smooth and you need to heat gun it, that type of thing, cleanup, get wax on the side of the jar, packaging, labeling, etc. So start to finish, and then that's all the things that you want to. Oh, I didn't put it in there. Told you I'm bad at this. Yeah, we want that to be in black. That's not a field that we want to edit. I'll figure out how to move that over. So, okay. So production time, let's say I made like 10 of these and it took me like a half hour. So we're super set up, like our candle room super set up, but I know it took me like 30 minutes to make 10. All right. So my time per each would be 0.33. So, that would be 0.33 of an time per each. That you can see my calculations up here and stuff. So yeah, it would actually be 3.3 minutes. So I have to move my decimal over. I will fix that too. So my profit per hour on that, if I made these, would be $1,300 per hour if I was going to make that. That's a good profit. So if you're going to make these all the time. So let's see, let's go to like a real price. So let's calculate it out real. I did that right. So target sell price, let's say we're selling this candle for $20. So it's somewhere in between this cost times 3 and cost times 5. It's a $20 candle, $25 candle, let's say 20. Right. So I know that my product cost is $5.32 because it calculates it in there. So I have $14.68 profit per each. I made 10 of them in 30 minutes. So that 10, I'm still wondering if that calculates out right. So theoretically, it's still the same time per each, but I'm making $293 per hour. Does that work out? Does that sound right? So that times that divided by 60. I think that this needs to be, that's backwards, right? Yeah. Change that. Nope, it was not backwards. I got something going on here. I think I fixed the regular template, but didn't do it over here. What's this? So anytime you are doing a calculation, E35, E31 divided by 60, if you just put it on the field, it'll show the calculation up here. So E36, 32. No, it was right the other way. Okay. Oh, okay. So I see how it's doing it. This should actually be that. Divided by 10, because we made 10. So that's the total profit for everything. Okay. Now it makes sense. All right. So target sell price is $20. Product cost is $5.32. Profit per each is $14.68. So it took me a half hour to make 10. All right. So That would be my price per hour. So, right, total profit 1468. I think that would be different. So 1468 times 10 would be 146, and theoretically I can make 24 in an hour. Funny when you type this in, the whole new dynamic. So this should actually be, oh, I got it. So let's do this. So it would be profit per each times how many you made, divided by the minutes, right? Let's see if that works out. Nope, that didn't work out. Okay. Equals. Parentheses. Sorry about this. Profit per each times that. That's going to be our total profit. I don't want that though. It's important to get through this. Okay, that's the total profit. Divided by the number that we made. It's 1468 times. No, that's not it either. Yeah, I wish I was better at math. This is why I use Excel and spreadsheets, because once you get the formula in there, you don't really have to think about it too much. If anybody can help me out and post a formula in here that's an Excel wizard, that would be wonderful. B30. This should be B36, right? Yeah. $440. So our total profit 146.8 times 2 is 293. So I'm in the live stream. Okay. So the actual number here should be 293. I'm not getting this in here. I don't know why. Of course, if I wasn't in front of like our million viewers, I'd figure this out. So, all right, so it'd be 32. That's the profit per candle times 10 equals the total profit. I don't think I want to do that. Oh, I'm overthinking this. All right, so the calculation is profit times time, right? Times. Oh, Lordy. Wait, okay. Equals, all right. Profit times that. think this field it's calculating in minutes incorrectly because 33 is where it, ten. Okay, that works. Okay, so production time's 30 minutes. We made 10, so it's about 3 minutes per each. Excellent. So that 10 would be, this still isn't right? So profit per hour would be equals waiting for some math experts to come on here and tell me about this. I can get it when I play around with it. So time per each, 3. Sometimes I add too many fields here, and how many can I make in an hour? Let's see. Okay. We're not going to worry about this too much. I will fix this before you get the final spreadsheet and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll move on. Let's move on to the next thing that I want to do. So, like, say your pricing model isn't going to work out. So, say you need to sell these for, say you need to sell these. So, a customer wants to buy them. They're going to buy a whole bunch, and they want to buy them for $10 each or whatever. So if you type in 10, you have 532, you're only making 468. So theoretically, you're not making enough on those because we didn't talk about shipping or anything like that. So shipping costs are going to be different. It's kind of your direct cost. You can choose to add it in here if you want to, or you could leave shipping as like, a different cost on there. But a lot of times you have to add shipping costs in there. So say, on the waxes, if you're paying like $111.99, but it costs you another $40 in shipping, well, you have to count that in there. You can also, like, say you're buying things in bulk. So say, all right, a customer likes this candle and they want to buy, 500 of them or whatever, or let's say 60 of them, because that's what comes into, a candle. So this jar is $24.99 for 12, but if we buy it in a bulk quantity of 60, the cost goes down. So they're only, like $1.93 each, right? $115.50 divided by 60 each. We only use one, so it goes down to $1.93 each. So we're saving money there. We can also buy wax in multiple cases and stuff like that. If we buy the burn labels, there's another place we can save money. It's $17.99 for 1,000. So it goes from 18 cents a piece to 2 cents a piece. So it cuts that down. Plastic covers, if we, buy them in quantity, if we buy 100 of them, they're only 40 cents a piece. So instead of 46, and there's probably other things that we can save money on too in here. So that way our cost went down from like 534 to 504, makes a little more profit in here too. So you can work backwards that way and just kind of like adjust your costs in here to kind of, compensate, like, because sometimes you'll make more and stuff like that. You never want to calculate your costs based on like the initial one that you made. So if you're only buying like 1 ounce of fragrance and you're only buying, that type of thing, you can calculate out your cost. But chances are, if you're going to produce this product and do it in bulk, you are going to, buy it at a much better price and stuff like that. So let's move on back to the presentation, try to figure that out. So fix that costing thing in there later. It's that pressure thing. So, okay. Go back to our presentation. All right. So we did that. We did the basic calculator. Move on. Okay. Production for your profits. So this wasn't the candle example that we used. So say candle A cost $4.62. This is what I was talking about. The more time you can do it. So production time here. If you set up your workspace for 10 minutes, the candle prep, you put the burn label on, the wick attachment, color, wax, scent, pour the wax, quality control, heat gun, clean up, final packaging for resale. All that takes 5 minutes, and then clean up your workspace takes 15 minutes. Your profit's $9.37 for 30 minutes instead of $4.63. So basically what I'm getting at here, if we go back to that spreadsheet, oops, can't see this screen. Hang on. So the production time on the spreadsheet, if you make a whole lot more and everything, your production time is less. So if we go back to that one screen, you'll be able to make more money. So if you're really cutting, like if you're doing a fundraiser and really cutting, your profits tight and everything, try to be super, super tight, super, super slim. It's a wholesale account, that type of thing. Down here in the production, like say it takes 30 minutes to make 10, but if you're making 200, I'm trying to think how many we could do. If you could do 200 in 60 minutes, then your time per each is a little bit less. Well, that didn't work out. So you can make 300 in 60 minutes. So, or 300 in how many hours. So I need to put times in here so it calculates out correctly. If you can make more in less time, then you make more money. So you can plan your production for that too. And that calculates into your pricing and stuff too. So if you're going, if you're going tight on a fundraiser, like I can make 100 candles in X amount of hours and I plan to sell this and that, you have to think about how many you plan to sell and stuff too, in there. So yeah, that does that. But this calculator will do that to you too, as soon as I get the times right. So, but this calculator will do that for you too. And this is the same. It doesn't matter what you're selling. So like, we can go with the lotion example. We have the organic lotion. I think that's, $29.99 for 8 pounds. And there we use a half a pound, 0.5. The cobalt blue, let's just say I think they're on sale for $1. That's in each. These I just use for examples on here. We use one of those, 2-inch round label. It's $2 a sheet, but there's 8 per sheet. Use one, 25 cents a label. Fragrance oil again. Let's do the $26.99 for 16 ounces. And that we only used like 0.2 of an ounce because it takes less. So on the lotion, it's $3.46. And that I would probably sell that lotion for, like $15 a bottle. So it's kind of right in here. These are just suggested prices to go by, but it's kind of right in there and everything too. And yeah, you can figure out target sell price if I wanted to do 15 or $14.99 because we're rounding. Product cost is $3.46. I'm making $11 per bottle. So if you can make a lot of them, then you make the more money you make and stuff. So that's one way to do that. So we'll go back to our presentation. Bring that back up magically. There was an easy way to do this. Between screens. There. Okay. All right. Share that. Back on track. Okay. Yeah. So you can ramp up your production, make more profit, and type of thing. And that's about it. So other than my time calculation, which I will fix, let me look through and see if there's any questions in here. Got some good ones in here. I like it. All right. Everybody says hi. Jamie, Carla. Watching. Stop sharing my screen now. Yeah. Binghamton, New York. Awesome. Yeah, so Nancy asked, when factoring in the cost, are you including shipping? I did not, but you can. That's a good thing to include, especially, if you're getting things shipped from far away or specialty things, because that would be a direct cost. That's what it costs you to get that product in and stuff too. So again, you would take the product price, the total price, the product with the shipping, and type that in there. So it would be the same thing. You would just type in the product plus the shipping in there, and it would calculate it out for you. So. And then what type of spreadsheet are you using? So this is in Google Docs. And if anybody would like me to share them in Google Docs with you, that's fine. We're going to post an Excel version for those people that have Macs and stuff like that. It might be easier on Google Docs. You can just, shoot us your email in a private message, and then we will send a link to share it in Google Docs to you. So that way you have that and you can just copy it. Okay. And then, somebody else asked if shipping was in there. So nope, shipping was not in there. I could do that though. So based on I didn't have a receipt because it all comes from here. Nancy asked a good one. She said, are you calculating the melt time and cool time before pouring into the amount of time making the candle? I didn't calculate that out. No, I did not put that in there. Just because I used a wax that I don't need to let it cool before I pour it. Basically, I just add it and add color and scent, but you would do that. So if you were using, like, say you're using soy wax where you add your color, you heat it up, you add your color and scent, and you let it cool, and you're waiting, whatever, 20 minutes for it to cool and stuff like that, I would add that into my time just so that I know. I mean, you can do other things and wick jars and stuff in that time and stuff too. So, but you would need to put that in there too. That way, how much time it's going to take you. It'll help you too. So think about using these sheets in production. So if you get, an order for 400 of them or whatever, you can actually type that in there and you'll know, how many based on what you did before and stuff like that. I know that if I can make 10 in 30 minutes, 400 is going to take me, X amount of hours. So, 10. 400 divided by 10 is 40 minutes, and then times 3 minutes a piece. It's going to take you about 120 minutes to make those 400 candles. So you can kind of work backwards on that. I should include that in on the sheet. So once I figure out how to get the actual minutes in there, I will put that on the sheet too. So you can ramp up your production and everything too. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to post. Christine will keep monitoring this for that. I'm going to fix these spreadsheets and then we're going to put them in there for you for anybody that wants to use them. And I hope this was helpful. I did stumble around a little on the times just because time in minutes is 60s instead of dollars and stuff. So that got me a little bit, but I will fix that in the spreadsheet so that it'll be usable for you and you guys can figure it out. So, but that's what we have for today. So good luck pricing your products. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to post them. You can always call us, email us, whatever makes us feel loved. So, but good luck selling your stuff. And then thank you for joining us today. And then next week, we'll have another fun-filled episode. If there's anything you guys want us to do live streams on or go over, this was the nitty-gritty in pricing and stuff. So we can go more. We didn't talk anything about marketing or any type of that thing. If you guys want anything of that, we can do that as well. But thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.